Top 10 with Tia is brought to you by Speed Republic from Mad Cave Studios. In the near future, Europe is plagued by hollow visions of unity. Food is scarce, the water is polluted, and health is a luxury reserved for the 1%. An escape from poverty presents itself once a year in the form of the Grand Race. An all-out action-packed rally across Europe, where anything goes. Speed Republic. Written by Ryan K. Lindsay, with art by Emmanuel Periscandalo. Colors by Michelle Monti and letters by Jomette Gill. Coming February 2nd, 2022, from Mad Cave Studios.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Top 10 by Geek Vibes Nation. I told you guys that we were going to be back. We weren't going to go another 6 months without recording a Top 10. But never. Yeah, no, never. But yes, this is the Top 10 Geek Vibes Nation. I'm your host, Tia, and I have my lovely co-host with me, Brittany. How are you doing?
Tired. I'm real tired. Sure.
I'm tired too, and I was too lazy to make myself coffee, so just like pretend that I'm like sipping it and getting caffeine, you know?
I feel that. I could really use the Red Bull. I have about 2 empty Red Bull cans next to me. I might need caffeine.
Oh my God, you need to stop with the Red Bull. But before we go any further, I of course have to thank Mad Cave for sponsoring this video. Of course, Brittany and I doing this, we did not see the Mad Cave sponsorship, but when I edit it, you'll see the little intro video. So at this point, this is just redundant, me saying something, but
what would it be here? Is it going to be over here?
It's going to be
those two spots.
It's going to be in the intro. So people seeing this have already seen the Mad Cave sponsorship, but yeah. Go ahead. And I thank Marty for even making that Mad Cave introduction. Thank you, Marty. But anyway, yeah, so this is another Top 10. I'm super excited. Oh, one last thing before I keep going. So one of our contributors, Sean, he's fairly new within the last like few months and everything. He has been like, first of all, I want to say that Sean was kind of like my inspiration to like get the Top 10 back up and running, because he's been doing Top 10 lists for GVN and they're really good. I'm like, I miss us doing the Top 10, right? And he just did a recent Top 10, the Top 10 best worst comic book movies of all time. And you would think that we are talking about politics with the way that people are responding in the comments. And I have to say, like, we have had like some pretty like controversial Top 10 lists. Like, they shouldn't be controversial, but they are controversial. And it's just like, guys, it's just movies and TV shows we're talking about. Let's take it down a notch.
I know. Some people take it as, oh, you didn't like this movie? You're innately like a bad person down to your core, and you're like, wait, what? Who?
I know.
What I do?
Like, not to call anyone out, but someone in the comments section was like, what a loser. And I was like, even though I didn't even write it, I was just like, guys, what the hell? So I'm gonna link Sean's article down below, so please make sure you enjoy it and give it some love. And if you disagree with the list, then you disagree with the list. I don't know what else
you get
to say.
What you get.
You get what you get.
You get what you get.
But this month's Top 10 by Tia and Brittany is going to be the top 10 canceled shows that are still worth watching. I see this a lot where a show is canceled, and people are saying like, should I even check it out, knowing that they didn't bother, say, giving it an end, or it's not going to continue. And for me, I'm like, there are some shows that even though they didn't get the ending that they rightfully deserved, still are enjoyable enough that you should go back. And you never know, there are times when people go back years later and there's interest in a show again, and there's potential for it to get picked up. Like, it hasn't been official yet, but Hannibal was canceled after 3 seasons, and people going back and rewatching it has really kind of stirred up this interest in getting it renewed. Or
TikTok loves Hannibal.
well, I'll actually say one further. Veronica Mars had 3 seasons, was canceled back in the day, and the fandom still was so strong that not only did it get a movie, but then it got a mini season just to kind of update everyone of what's going on in this show. So who knows, maybe
they booted up long enough to ruin it.
Well, I will say maybe Veronica Mars isn't a great example, just because listen, I've been very vocal of how terrible the new Sex and the City rebooted show is, and how they absolutely should have never done that, just because longtime fans like myself are pretty kind of disgusted with the show now. They broke up my favorite couple, and I kind of knew they would do it beforehand, but I still sat there and said wow, 6 seasons, 2 movies, and this is what you do to us.
Because you didn't know what to do with people.
Well, it feels like the Veronica Mars dilemma, where they were oh, we got Veronica and Logan together, we don't know what to do now.
We don't know how to write healthy relationships.
Isn't it how it feels, where it's they spend so much time getting 2 characters together, and then once they do, they're oh, we didn't think about this.
You know what makes me so mad? I enjoy a slow burn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't enjoy is that most slow burns have so many the miscommunication tropes, where they have a misunderstanding and it draws them apart. And I'm I hate the miscommunication trope. I hate them oh, I got my feelings hurt. And they never discuss it. They never go, oh, by the way, that's not what I actually meant. And that's how I feel that probably was.
I don't even want to go into it, because I have full disclosure, I haven't even watched the Sex and City reboot show. It's called And Just Like That, and I really feel
and just like that
and
we stopped watching it.
And Just Like That, I don't regard it's not even called Sex and the City, so therefore it's not canon. It is the what was that one? It is the Dragon Ball GT of this.
No.
Well, you know how if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you don't regard GT as canon. You're just that didn't exist. That's how I feel about And Just Like That. I'm all right, so I barely recognize the second movie because it wasn't good, but I still recognize it as canon. I don't recognize this show as canon. I'm trying to think what else I kind of felt that way about. Oh, really quick, because I know we're going in all different directions right now. You never watched Will and Grace, but
no, I didn't, but I hear it was really good.
I would agree. Will and Grace was really good, and Will and Grace is the example of bringing a show back after so many years and actually doing better. Really quick, I'm not going to go through the whole Will and Grace is such a funny show. And the end of the original series was so bad for long-term fans. It was not really quick. The whole show is about Will and Grace being friends, best friends. And that's the whole show. And the very last episode of the series, of the original run series, is they stop being friends for something really stupid, and they haven't seen each other in 20 years, and they run into each other because their kids go to the same college, and they're want to get a drink, and that's it. And so it's
that's so dumb. That's so dumb. So that means you pooped on your entire series.
Well, and that's how I feel about And Just Like That. I feel it's pooped on Sex and the City. But anyway, with Will and Grace, with Will and Grace, about 4 years ago, they decided to bring it back for a 3-season run. And it's okay, well, how are they going to address this? You know how they addressed it? They had this one character, Karen, who literally was she's this, and they're what? And she's I just had a dream that you two went 20 years without talking to each other. And they're that's stupid. That would never happen. She's yeah, I know. It's really dumb. And it's that was it. It was the best.
That's what you needed.
It was the best retcon ever. And so it's take note.
That's what,
and Just Like That, take note.
That made me think of there was some people I can't remember, they had done this little like what would you call it? Like not an Easter egg, like just a little funny thing where they had where as if like Breaking Bad ended and the dad from Malcolm in the Middle wakes up and he goes, I had a dream. I had the worst dream. And then he dreamed the entirety of Breaking
I was a
Bad.
meth dealer.
I was a meth dealer. I was just like, I died. I thought it was the funniest shit ever.
I love that. And like, so again, I know that's really random, but I guess like there are times that you can revive the show and it be good, but and just like that is not that. But anyway, let's get into our top 10 canceled shows that you know are still deserve to be watched. I don't know why I couldn't speak English there for a second. We're going to still do you know, the new format that we introduced last month and everything. So I'm going to go through mine again. Brittany, if you feel like jumping in at any point, please do. I have my handy dandy phone with my list here.
I love interrupting. Hell yeah, I'll do that.
That's all good. Let's do that. There goes the Red Bull cans.
There went breaking my mic stand. Give it 1 second. Wait, oh no, what did I do? Tia, why am I like this? Wait. Shh, I fixed it. It's fine. I fixed it. We're good.
Should I keep that in? I feel like I kind of want to keep that in.
Shh, it's fine. Here at Geek Vibes Nations, we never mess up. We never screw up.
We are perfect. We're perfect. We've never had any instances ever, as we remember the times that we were on Blog Talk Radio and literally it would drop the call in the middle of us recording. Yeah, we've never had any sort of technical difficulties or issues.
No, never. Okay, I think I fixed it. This arm, it sticks on my desk, and apparently it came very loose, and when I went to push it, I shoved the entire bike stand off the desk. So and I scared Dorian out of his little sleepy place, and I was enjoying him.
That was the worst. That was the worst crime of all.
I know. And don't call out my Red Bull cans.
But anyway, in the words of Bill O'Reilly, who I actually really dislike, but in the words of Bill O'Reilly, fuck it, let's do it live.
Let's do it live.
So anyway, my 5 on our list of the top 10 cancel shows that still deserve to be watched. The first 2, of course, are going to be Marvel shows. I have to put out Daredevil and I have to put out Punisher. Even though I feel like both of them had good endings, of course, like they were canceled before it was planned. Like obviously the writers, they expected for that to continue going. Look at the movie universe. They were like, obviously it's going to continue going, so let's just go. But both Daredevil and Punisher had good wrap-ups, but we know that they were both canceled and they absolutely are worth going back and watching, especially if you've, spoiler alert, seen Spider-Man No Way Home, and you know that Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. And if you've watched the Hawkeye series, you know that Wilson D'Onofrio is back as Wilson Fisk. And I would say that they would be stupid not to bring John Bernthal back as Punisher. So absolutely. And really quick, before you keep going, a lot of people were wondering, like, so now that we're bringing these characters back, are they going to be, even though it's the same actor, are they going to be like playing different versions and like completely retcon everything? And I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio himself has said, like, no, my Wilson Fisk is still the Wilson Fisk, like, of the Daredevil series. We obviously have made some changes because in the Daredevil series, he's pretty much just like a regular human. And in the Hawkeye series, if you've watched it, he literally has the ability to rip a door off its hinges. So, you know, small.
Daddy, sorry. Daddy, sorry. I have no regrets.
But I didn't know, I didn't want to keep going because it looked like he wanted to say something, so I'm sorry.
I just wish in the Spider-Man movie, I know with the spoiler alert for having Matt Murdock show up, I just wish that like they could have done where Spider-Man was flying across, like, doing his web slinging, and just had like Frank Castle look up like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
that?
it's like, and you know
Like,
what's so
like,
funny? It's like I didn't even need a lot because obviously the Matt Murdock like cameo was super small. I literally could have had Frank Castle like reading newspaper and drinking coffee, and that was it. That would have been enough.
I'm a really good lawyer.
that is still like my favorite scene out of that movie, and I know it's probably a lot of people's favorite scene, but it's also probably a lot of people's like not favorite scene because like, you know, other great stuff happened in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's just so wonderful because you have Peter Parker with all his spidey senses and Matt Murdock catches the brick first, and it's like
right.
And I
Like,
think and I think it was Joanne who pointed out where it was like, you know, in that moment Peter Parker's like, I have spidey senses. What the fuck do you have?
you're right. He's probably thinking, God, is he like an Avenger? Like undercover Avenger? Is he Shield? Who is he?
Who is it? Just his look, and he's and just it's so perfect, Matt, to just go, I'm a really good lawyer.
By the way, in the fact of really good lawyer, didn't he get Peter Parker off like from the murder charges? But it was that he was proven like innocent, or at least like, but it was enough doubt that people didn't believe him. But I think like his trial was done. Like, even though he was seen to not be guilty, maybe not that he was proven innocent, but that he wasn't proven guilty, because that was the whole thing with people like, you know, throwing the bricks and stuff. But in believing what's his name?
Yeah, I mean, they never like fully went through it, which would have been really nice if we would have gotten a court scene. Like, that would have been amazing. Matt Murdock like actually defending Peter Parker would have been great. But
see, because then you could have got Matt Murdock to go, yeah, you know, the last guy I defended was like a mass murderer, so I think we're gonna do okay.
You could have had people calling him into question, like, oh, you really want Matt Murdock of, you know, Nelson and Murdock, because like he defended Frank Castle and everything. There could have been small Easter eggs. But
it could have been beautiful, Tia. It could have been beautiful. We asked for nothing. We got nothing, JK. We got all the Spider-Man.
I was gonna say, we were pretty fortunate with No Way Home, but so yeah,
we were pretty spoiled on that one. But I still want to gripe.
If you're a Marvel fan, please watch Daredevil and Punisher, because that's the thing, is like I thought that every Marvel fan had watched those shows, but there are a lot who are fans of the movies who I've been seeing online like, oh, just now checking out the Daredevil show because I guess it's connected. It's like, go watch Daredevil, go watch Punisher, and then go watch all the others, because guaranteed we're going to be seeing a lot of people come back. So yeah, starting my list off with Daredevil and Punisher. I'm then going to go into I really liked Brave New World. That was pretty, when the app Peacock came out, that was essentially like the original show that they debuted with. It was a little strange. It's based on a book, I think, like written in the 1930s. I forget what the guy's name was who wrote the book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of potential. It was super sci-fi-ish. So if you were into sci-fi and like things like that, I mean, it had a rocky like reviews, and I think that's why I didn't get picked up for a second season, but they set up that first season at the end to really go hard in a second season. So, but the first season alone has a pretty like, you know, beginning, middle, and end. So it has a story that is wrapped up. It's just that there's a story afterward that like now won't get told. But I really liked Brave New World. It proved to me that Harry Lloyd, who played Viserys in Game of Thrones, is a really good actor, and he should be recognized more, as opposed to like the guy that they really were trying to focus on in the movie, who played a young Han Solo in that like solo Star Wars movie. But I really like Brave New World. You remember me talking about how much I like Brave New World.
Oh yeah, I do. That's why I was giving you the face when you're like, I really like that actor. I was like,
shut up. It was a good show. I liked it. If you like shows that are sci-fi-ish, like, you know, futuristic dystopias and like an exploration of like classism, and if you're into like that whole like alpha, beta, gamma, epsilon shit, then it has all of that. I really feel as if that's where people get it from. Like when people are like, because I was listening recently to the H3H3 podcast, and I think Ethan was like, where did this whole like alpha thing come from? And I want to even say like it came from that book in the 1930s, because they like went through like the classes of being like alpha, beta, gamma, something. And I'm like, maybe that's where people like low-key get it from. I don't know.
I think too was so I was one of those kids that really loved wolves growing up, right? Like
Yeah.
I was that girl, right? And I think a lot of it too comes from like the assumption that the leader of the pack is the alpha, and then whatever's under them is the beta, and then the omegas were like, oh, the ones that, you know. But turns out a lot of that's false. The reason there's an alpha is because it's normally where the dad and the mom basically break off, form their own pack, and then eventually one of the children will leave and start a pack. It's just like there's no true alpha, beta, whatever.
I know, but
so
people
I think
still
like
love saying it.
no, and that's the thing is I think like that kind of like I think it's also you have a lot of people that really love wolves as children. They grew up and they said, you know what? I'm bringing this with me. My mic again.
Stop holding on to it.
I was trying to move it closer to my face and it didn't work out. I'm fine. I'm gonna not touch it now. My hands are off. I'm putting them in my lap. I hold on to it like a security blanket. It's fine.
Clearly. So you're saying like people like, I don't want to get too politicized here, but people like Joe Rogan is like talking with thinks of himself as a wolf. Is that what you're saying?
No, I just say I'm like I think the whole like the hierarchy of the alpha beta stuff came from wolves, like how people assume for wolf pack. Sorry, I just started laughing because I was like, everybody's so up in arms about everything right now with that I started laughing as soon as you said Joe Rogan. I was like, are you trying to get us canceled over here for even the sheer mention of this man?
I know the Joe Rogan stans may just like completely cancel us out of existence. But whatchamacallit it? Well, and I'll say really quick before I go on my next one. To me, like holding on to like a whole like alpha beta thing is the same thing as like holding on to like Freudian shit, when most like Freudian studies have been absolutely disproven, but people still being like, well, this is a Freudian thing. It's like, but meaning it's incorrect. Like, why are you using it when like it's been proven to be incorrect? You know what I'm saying?
Like I know what you're saying. I remember when I had to take like what's it called? What's I'm trying to think what the class is called now. I can't even think of it. I got tired poo brain. Either way, when we had our course over the Freudian stuff, I was always like, please say this isn't real. It's like, I love my dad,
psych.
but I don't love my dad. Like, please.
Don't say it, Brittany. I don't want us to get demonetized.
No, I'm just saying. Like, as soon as I heard that in class, I was like, please, God, no. And like, I remember the professor just being like, no, I'm not saying. And then you just see like the horror, like disgust look on like all the students' face, and there she's like, I understand, but we have to learn this.
When we were learning it in either human sexuality or like psychology or something, like literally before we even started learning about, like, our teacher never taught Freud like it was actual philosophy. It was like, oh, look, these are like the weird discoveries of clearly a man who didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Look how absurd this is. So yeah, but anyway, Brave New World was really good. It's still on the Peacock app. You should watch it. I still think it was a great first season. And yeah, so my next one is, I was pretty upset about this getting canceled. I really want Netflix to give it a second season. Cursed. Cursed came out a little bit after The Witcher season 1. I thought it was a really good like a really good show to watch if you were missing The Witcher, both like into like these medieval sort of, you know, settings, Curse is more of a young adult version, which I'm not even really the biggest fan of, like young adult stuff, but I really liked Catherine Langford in that lead. It was a cool concept. It was based off a young adult book of like, what if, and this is the thing, people got like upset where it was like, oh, I didn't know people were so into like freaking King Arthur and shit like that. People like Arthur had the sword, and it's like, if you watch the show, it wasn't that Arthur never gets the sword. It was like, oh, what if like a girl has the sword first? And I thought it was really cool. It's like she was a fae. She, was fighting for
Okay,
her.
I was wondering if that was cursed. I was trying
Yeah.
to remember which show it was, but that's the one with Merlin, right?
Right. Gustav Skarsgård plays like essentially a drunken, disheveled Merlin, and that's hilarious.
What a shame.
What
What a shame.
But no, it was really good. I liked it. They had good storyline, good battle scenes. If you're into like, again, like medieval shit, but with like mysticism, it has all of that. And I thought it had a great payoff at the end. Like it was all leading towards shit. I liked it. I really liked it, to me. And I even came out with a video in like 2020 saying that like I thought that Cursed had more of a solid season 1 than The Witcher did. Because as much as I love The Witcher, it had like some moments that were rocky for me, and Cursed altogether was pretty solid. So I was very saddened that it did not get picked up for season 2. Kind of felt like it was going to go in that direction because they just weren't, like a year went by without any news as if it was going to get a second season. So when it canceled, I was like, yeah, I mean, we would have heard something by now if it was renewed.
I saw this thing on TikTok for Curse. But was it Cursed or Curse?
Curse.
Is there a D at the end?
There's a D at the end.
There are so many simps for Merlin. I saw the one where it's like, yes, the age appropriate man. And it's like, not Skelly Lizard Man or whatever. And it always with Merlin at the end. They'd be like, oh, Arthur or the other guy, or a couple other hot guys. And it's like, no, there's Merlin just being drunk as hell.
Because Merlin was like the most entertaining, but I really liked it. Like there was a lot of twists. Like, I mean, it's canceled. It's been out now for like 2 years, but I still want people to like watch it. But there's some really good twists in that. And I actually was fortunate enough, the people behind Curse had like given me the like digital copy of the book to read. And I really liked it. I thought that was good writing as well. So yeah, I'm sad. Curse definitely is worth watching. And then my last one, I couldn't have a list like this without putting.
I knew what before you finish that sentence.
I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish. I just need you to know that I know. You ever made a list just because you wanted to put something on that list? That's you. The moment you brought this list, I already knew what your number 1 was.
To be fair, I did want to put the others as well because I've been thinking about Cursed and Brave New World. I was like thinking about going like, damn, that really sucks. But of course, the number 1 is going to be American Gods. If you listen to our top 10s, I've gone over and over again how much I love this show. I still think it's worth watching, even though it got canceled. It's not going to finish out, even though all it needed was 1 more season. You can kind of fill in the blanks. Of what season 4 would have been, since it's based on Neil Gaiman's book, American Gods, and season 3 was all about trying to get it back on track since the showrunners of the previous 2 seasons have kind of gone off track. We have a whole series. I have a whole playlist on our YouTube of how much we covered American Gods. Like, it was a good show. I'm not going to go on and on and on about it and have it where I take up 20 minutes just talking about American Gods. It's worth watching. I see a bunch of the actors of American Gods getting new gigs, so congratulations to them. I loved it. I was all for a continuation. I think that's definitely still worth watching, and I think people are still watching it because I go on Twitter and people are seemingly discovering it. So yeah, it's on the Stars app, as much as I was pissed at Stars for canceling it. I have no update at all. So okay, really funny. I don't know if I'm like outing myself right now, but on Tumblr, Neil Gaiman himself is on Tumblr, right? And he asks a lot of questions. I mean, not asks, he answers a lot of questions. And I look to see if like there's any updates on American Gods. And everyone is talking about Good Omens. Good Omens is having a second season. I will admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first season of Good Omens, but if you liked it, I'm happy that you're getting a second season, because apparently
TikTok loves Good Omens.
Well, it's funny because I was talking to Michael Cook, one of our like great contributors, and he was surprised that it was getting a second season, because he's like, the first season was always meant to be a mini series. He's like, and they told all the events of the book, the beginning, middle, and end. He's like, so what's left to say? There was never a sequel. So, but again, if you liked Good Omens, I'm happy that you got your second season. But anyway, so on Tumblr, Neil Gaiman has this thing. He's answering a lot of questions about Good Omens season 2. He's answering a lot of questions about The Sandman, which I am excited about. But I noticed like he's not answering anything about American Gods. So I kind of like, for shits and giggles, did like an ask where I was like, Mr. Gaiman, what's the update with American Gods? Like you never talk about it. And I was like, he's too busy. He's not going to respond to that.
Did he actually respond? That's awesome.
It was awesome. Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. But he pretty much was like, I have no control over that. He was like, I still hope that Fremantle, who is the production company that owns the like TV rights to American Gods, he's like, I do hope they still do something with it. And that's it. So that's my update. That's my list. I'll put all 5 right here and everything. Brittany, I said enough of my spiel. I talked enough. It's time for you.
I love your spiel, though. I love your spiel. Let me bring up mine. I have a million missed calls from Walgreens, apparently.
Walgreens?
As I bring up my list.
What the hell you guys want?
I know. They said you got COVID once. You better take your cough medicine, lady. But since I already brought it up, Malcolm in the Middle, it still holds up. It is still worth watching, and it is such like a carefree kind of goofy show. It's kind of like in the vein of like Bob's Burger, where there's not much continuation, like except for the fact of, you know, them having a baby like somewhere in it. But I don't know, it still was when it came out so long ago, but then I still found myself like years ago rewatching the entire series on hello Toby, thank you for coming to visit, thank you for coming to my TED Talk about Malcolm in the Middle.
You wanted to say hi.
I know, you look, it's like, thanks for showing your butt on top 10.
Thanks, we're gonna get demonetized for that. No.
Thanks, kitty butt.
Thanks.
But Malcolm in the Middle, like I found myself when it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is on Netflix. It was just such like a nice carefree show, but it was like showed the nice like dysfunction, like that. You know how they're like I say like a lot. I'm just trying to think how to say it. You see these families on television that are these like proper happy, you know, they're the epitome of what the American family should be. This family was not. It was realistic. It was a like lower middle class family just trying to make it. Like I think the mom worked at a grocery store. Like, you know how normally in shows they have the parents working like these really high class or like bank jobs or real estate, you know, all these other things. It was like, it was nice that they just worked at a grocery store. They were just normal people, and it was just funny. So I think it still holds up.
It's so I just looked, it's not on Netflix. So
they must have took it off. Oh, no.
Well, you know, Netflix likes doing that. You know, they'll have like things on and then like take them off, and it's like, well, where am I supposed to watch this now? So if you're wanting to watch Malcolm in the Middle, it's on Hulu. So there you go.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. I'm also gonna go along kind of in that vein of just kind of fun goofiness. This show has been canceled a million times. Futurama.
I was gonna say either you're gonna say Family Guy or Futurama.
Futurama, like, because I feel like Family Guy was sometimes it's like, yes, we're making a political commentary, and I'm like, yeah, that's nice, but then sometimes it would get like way too much. Futurama is not. It's just dumb, stupid fun. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's one of those I can just put on in the background and I find myself giggling to the same freaking jokes, even though I've heard them a million times. It still gets a chuckle out of me. But like they've had like 3 cancellations, I think, but I still cry over the dog episode. They had no
Stop,
business.
we don't talk about
I know we don't talk about that. I'm trying to remember.
That reminds me of when he's like, I am Bender, please insert girder or something. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I really loved Futurama when it first came out. I was like, I'm not even gonna hum the theme because you never know, we could get claimed for that, but the like theme slapped. And I like The Simpsons, but I wasn't in love with The Simpsons. And when Futurama came out, I was like, this is hilarious. I love this shit. And you're right, it has gotten canceled 1,000 times. Like,
I know. I think it's fully canceled now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, because it was on, wasn't it originally like on Fox, and then it moved to Cartoon Network, I think.
Well, I know it was originally on Fox because the big like goof is that Fox cancels everything. Like Family Guy was originally on Fox. I think Bob's Burgers is still on Fox. They haven't canceled that yet. But if
they'll get there. They'll get there. Give them time. Give them time.
Firefly, everyone talks about Firefly. That was on Fox. Like, so Fox loves to
People
cancel
still
their
talk
shit.
about Firefly. I was trying to look through like canceled shows because I was like, what's been canceled? What's been truly canceled? What's not just finished out?
Firefly.
Firefly was on there. Like I was like, all right. I wish I had like where I could cut out one word so that it wouldn't show up in my search feed.
I will say, before you go on, it's like no disrespect to the Firefly community, but you guys at least then got like a TV movie wrapping everything up, something that us as American Gods fans have not gotten yet.
Oh my gosh, you're so sassy. That look, that was full sass. That was full sassy Tia.
I know, I just wanted to say it, but go ahead.
I'm also gonna go with Monk. I haven't watched it in a really long time. Yeah, apparently it was canceled because I tried to look back of like canceled shows, because I was going off. I was like, let me see if I can find it real quick.
I'm only surprised because I thought Monk was like really popular when it was.
It was. It says. Let's see. I think Monk is coming back. It's returning to television. Wait, no, that said it in 2012. Wait, I don't know if it's actually back. All I'm seeing is Monk Gets Axed in 2008. It said that it aired from 2002 to 2009, and then they talked about it coming back.
Well, that counts as a canceled show, so
I count it. It's just like, I remember I would watch Monk in the morning before leaving for school in the morning. It was like mine and my mom's like little traditional thing. And it was so nice because Monk was so smart, and it's supposed to be like, OCD, look how he doesn't want to touch people, but it was such a nice, like, they had the comedic effect, but deep down to its core, it's that, Monk was like, I think he was like a great detective, or he was something. I'm trying to remember. It's been years. Like I said, it ended in 2009. That was like 3 years before I graduated high school. So forgive me. It's been a long time. But his wife gets murdered, and that's the reason he ends up going on disability. It causes him to get very neurotic. It causes his OCD to flare, or I don't know if it made him have OCD or just flared it to the point of like where he couldn't exist. And it's supposed to be about him like getting back into the work, how he's helping the police, he's helping investigations, but he's so like, I don't know, it was so good. Like it was easily consumable, kind of like SVU, but a little more lighthearted. A lot scratch that, a lot more lighthearted, but it touched on really like sensitive subjects, and that's one of the first times I think I've ever seen like OCD actually portrayed in like a character that wasn't more, they did the comedic effect of like, oh, look at him, he's so, he has to be such a way, but they made it realistic to the sense of like it took over his life. He couldn't work. It wasn't, oh, ha ha. And I don't know, I always really liked Monk. I always I need to rewatch it. So I'm gonna go with Monk.
Well, that actor is phenomenal. I mean, he's
amazing. I had such a crush as a kid. I had such a crush. Don't even at me.
I'm
My
not
love of older
surprised.
men started early.
I was gonna say you can see a trend with Monk and Malcolm in the Middle. I can see a trend. Dads.
I had to like look up the other day. I was like, can you have daddy issues with a good father? And it was like, yes. And I was like, thank God. Thank God.
I need some sort of
issues.
I need some sort of explanation here.
For my next one, I'm gonna go with Supernatural. It was technically canceled.
I
wouldn't count it up to like season. What's the last season that had Benny in it? Was that season 9?
8.
Scratch everything from 8 on. Just watch up to 8.
Season 9 was good. Season 9 had good drill in it. I would say
watch up to 9 then.
I would say watch up to 10. 10 is when it started going downhill.
Oh, that's what I meant. I was counting 9, but not actually the up to confused my brain. You get what I mean?
It's all good.
But it was so good. You have Jeffrey Dean Morgan at the beginning. You have Dean and Sam, and really like that was where it really began. Where it used to be scary. It used to like even you said you're like I couldn't watch it right before bed because it scared me, and I said okay, that's all I needed to know because I get scared over everything.
No,
what episode was it?
The first 3 seasons were like spooky. They were like ghost, horror mansion stories. It was in season 4 that they really had like a shift when they introduced like the angels, which is great because it really like gave Supernatural kind of the change it needed. But then it just feels as if they like didn't know what to do. Yeah, no, that it's still worth watching. But I think that it's one of those shows that if you don't go up to the final season, it's okay. No one's going to get mad at you. If you're like, I didn't watch up to season 15, it'd be like, that's fine. That's fine.
I couldn't say, okay, we watched so many seasons. I think we watched season 10 together and then we just fell out of it. But I could say I was really in love with Supernatural back in the day. I really was a huge fan. We drove to Houston for a Supernatural convention. You flew from New York to Arkansas and then we road tripped for like what, 6-7 hours?
8.
It
was 8 hours. 8. It's the longest I've ever been in a car. Like
I wish I could say the same for myself.
No, seriously,
there's nothing here.
I did love Supernatural. I am like, I look back at it and I'm like, I'm sorry that I stopped watching, but I'm also not sorry I stopped watching because at least when I stopped watching, I have like good memories. Like I've heard what that like series finale was, and I've like seen clips, and it looks horrible. But I'm not saying that because this list is all about like canceled shows that you should still watch. You should still watch Supernatural and just
start from one spot.
Just get as far as like you can and everything. But I do think that would constitute as a canceled show, even though like I think they knew that. I think they requested that the final 15th season be the final season. But now it's like, they're like, oh, we had so much else like to talk about and everything. And you can see that like with that series finale that they just weren't ready for it. So I absolutely count it as like a canceled show.
Yeah, it was just a bad ending. I'm trying to think what else about Supernatural. They could have just done so many things differently, but they introduced so many characters that I still like pull from for other characters from this day on, like for writing purposes, because they were just so good, but nobody ever did anything with them. Since we're on that note of like not knowing about whether or not what's counting as the full cancellation, I'm gonna go ahead and for my number 1 spot, I'm gonna trade out the other and I'll honorably mention the other one. Okay. I'm gonna go with Deadwood. Deadwood was insanely good.
And not for nothing, that's not even a technicality. Deadwood was canceled after 3 seasons just because
it got a movie. It got a movie afterwards because it was so good.
But like and people 14 years later, honestly.
Yes, because Ian McShane was looking good, but that man's still fine. I just need you. By the way, so speaking of this, right? I knew I was going to be great friends with the new girl that started at work when she said, "Damn, Ian McShane is still fine," and I went, "Oh hell yeah, we're gonna be friends." She goes, "Do you know who that is?" Because we had just got done talking about Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I was like, But Deadwood was extremely good. Like it was one again easily consumable. I love stories that take place in one small area. I don't like stories where it's constantly jumping around like, oh, they're flying to New York. Oh, they're flying to Arkansas. I had to use those examples. They're flying to New Mexico. They're always like, I don't need a big wide story. I need a timepiece of them sitting there and the shit that's going on around them is what I need.
I like Deadwood because it wasn't glamorous. Like a lot of times when you watch things about like the Old West, they're so glamorized. And in it, it's like they're talking about first of all, the hygiene looks fucking terrible.
Oh yeah, it was disgusting. The shitty roads, like legitimately shitty. Like like with the wet, gunky, and the fact that why they had such tall shoes. And I sat there, and it was one of the first times I was like, I don't think I'd really want to live in a Western time period. Besides the fact that I wear contacts because I'm freaking blind.
Oh,
or
yeah,
the fact that
you and I
like all the work I would have needed. Yeah, it would be screwed.
No, and you realize you're like everything stunk back then. People died for the smallest of illnesses, and just how lawless things were and how ruthless people were. You wouldn't want to live in like the Old West. And I think that's what was so cool about Deadwood. And everyone was great in it. Ian McShane, Timothy Oliphant. I love that Wild Bill like lived on in the freaking show, even though he was literally killed in episode 3.
I love Wild Bill. I know, and I also loved his partner. I can't remember his name. It was started with an A, I thought.
It wasn't like Charlie or something?
Oh, it was Charlie.
Yeah,
I always get Alfred and Charlie confused because they're still two old English names that are normally like interchangeable. Sorry. Sorry, Alfred from Batman.
But Deadwood was really good. And even though it was given like a movie finally, but that was 14 years later because it was canceled. And it was so wildly beloved. And that just goes to show you that even if a show is really liked, there are things that work on in studios why they decide to cancel shit.
Like I'm trying to remember. I always wonder what causes them to think maybe we shouldn't continue this, but they had some really big names because that was when Timothy Oliphant was like in his like prime. Like even though he's still well loved, I think that's one of his prime shows. Like what other show came out about that long ago that he was in that got also Justified.
They're bringing it back.
Oh my god. I saw that because I have some guy friends that are obsessed with Timothy Oliphant and they're obsessed with Justified.
Kanan loves Justified. When I told Kanan that we were watching Justified back like a year or so ago, he was like, oh, you've never watched that?
Could you say his love was Justified? Oh my god, I remember when you very first started watching that show and we made the stupidest jokes constantly. It wasn't even funny. It was just funny because it was so dumb.
Because literally that's not even like an exaggeration in the show. It's every episode. It's like his character will fucking kill someone and they'll be like, Raylan, why'd you kill that person? And because it's like in Kentucky and everything. So no,
love Kentucky.
Yeah, I was gonna say no offense to our Kentuckians, like, but they'll be like, Raylan, why'd you shoot that person? He's like, it was justified.
By the way, on that note, I love that it's in Kentucky just for the fact that like, so when I was driving to see Aaron all the time and I went through Kentucky in the middle of spring and there was nothing but like green fields with like the most beautiful wildflower. I was like, I'm gonna have to move to Kentucky. And then I drove for 1,000,000 miles and there was no like shops or buildings. And I went, maybe not.
Brittany,
Maybe not.
stop lying. That's like from Little Rock, Arkansas to your place. There's nothing as far as the eye can see.
No, you know it's bad. You know it's bad when me, small town Arkansas, is going, God, there was no buildings or no houses for miles. Like, there was
Jesus. There's nothing around.
Aaron showed me this video today that was like, yeah, you could go to Bora Bora or you could go to rural Arkansas. And it was just a Dollar General on every road, like this person driving by. And it was a Dollar General. That's exactly how Arkansas is. You could be like, well, I got to drive 20 minutes out into the middle of nowhere. But there's a Dollar General.
If I could describe where Brittany lives in Arkansas without saying where she lives, because we do not dox people here. Walmart, Sonic, Baptist churches.
Yeah, you better throw that plural on there. It's not every. Okay, so
that's why I said. I was like, wait. I was like, so there's no liquor stores. There's no anything else but a Walmart. They don't have any. There's no Dunkin' Donuts. There's no Starbucks. Oh, but there's a church. What is it? Could it be Catholic? Could it be a synagogue? Nope. It's a Baptist church.
I'm telling you, no joke. So I'm within walking distance from my home right now to a Baptist church, and if I walk, and what's funny is I was raised Baptist, so I'm not. I was gonna say,
no offense to the Baptists who are watching this and everything.
We do have one very tiny Catholic church, though, Tia. Wow. That one's for you.
I was gonna say, so if I move there, I could go to church. Oh my God.
I will never forget the first time, like, because we also have Episcopal churches. Like, we have so many churches. There's like probably, no joke, in just my small town of about 10,000 people, there's probably at least 30 something churches. No joke. Like, no joke, because there's like 4 right next to me, like back to back to back. So, you know.
So you know what you're getting if you're moving from like New York to Arkansas. There you go. But
but I will say it's very pretty. And if you like hunting and fishing and the outdoors, you love it. Tia doesn't like those things, so she don't like it.
Also, if you like to drink, just know that you gotta travel an hour outside to actually see a liquor store. So
45 minutes.
I can walk and within 5 minutes hit 3 different liquor stores.
I had to explain, by the way, just like on the fact of like things being for us being like from 2 different worlds. I had to tell Aaron the other day, I was like, did you know that they gave me a Red Bull with a straw? And it confused the hell out of me. He goes, why did they give you a straw? And I said, I guess because so many hands touch it, they get afraid of it being dirty. So they give you a straw so that you don't have to touch your mouth to it.
Oh, that's a big thing. If you're going to drink from a can, don't. I will tell you this, whoever's coming to New York, specifically Yonkers, New York, if you go somewhere and you get a can, do not put your lips to that can. Do not put your lips to that can.
I wouldn't even thought about it.
Even pour that can into a cup or get a straw. Do not put your lip. You don't know where that is. I don't mean to be gross on air, but those things could sit around with dust, mice, bugs, wherever they're storing it. I'm just saying. Anyway,
that was like me explaining bodegas to Aaron, and I was like, they just have cats. Like, well, I was like, the cats just eat mice and they do their thing and they just love it. They relax, and I was like, I wish I was a cat in New York.
Oh man, little town Brittany, but that is Brittany's list. I will put it here in post editing when that happens. Before we wrap everything up, you said you had an honorable mention, so I want to give you a moment to go ahead.
I love Breaking Bad so much, and it's because I love Mike so much. Mike is the best part of that show. And Tia, I have never felt so strongly about a show where you have a hole left in your chest after it's done, because you've gotten so. You ever just like no-lifed a show so hard and loved it so much, and it was like your daily routine of just watching a show, and then it's gone, and
I
then
mean,
it's like,
I could say that's American Gods, but
I
you
know,
could.
I just like there's a hole in my chest. And like I have Better Call Saul, but Better Call Saul comes out for its last season this year, and then I have no new Breaking Bad content, Tia. I have
No,
nothing. The
no.
closest thing that I can think that will fill that hole is Narcos, especially Narcos Mexico.
Narcos Mexico is amazing. I will say for my honorable, I'm looking at like a list of things that I like watching. I mean, there's probably so many because we all know that like any show that I like always gets canceled every single time without fail. Again, as I say,
You're a jinx.
I should just not watch things anymore because I get into them and I'm like, this is so good. People are gonna love it, blah blah blah. And then it's like canceled. So
am I gonna get canceled because you love me?
Yeah, probably. Sorry about that. I'm really trying to look. So I guess I could just say like whatchamacalls it? Yeah, I mean, like the Marvel shows, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, even Iron Fist, for Ward,
she said begrudgingly.
for Ward alone, played by Tom Pelphrey, who should have gotten nominated for an Emmy last year for Ozark season 3, but that is besides the point. And I guess like iZombie could like be a technicality because even though it wasn't canceled, the writers weren't expecting to. They like when they were renewed for a 5th season, it was like yay, and then when they were told, oh, this will be your last season by the CW, it was like, oh, now we gotta scramble to like do everything. So it's like I guess I would still count like iZombie, but yeah, so that is our list, our top 10. Please let us know. First of all, if you end up watching any of the shows that we suggest, let us know. I will put our socials all down in the description of this YouTube video. And if there is a canceled show that you feel is still worth watching, please let us know. Brittany, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you, what you got going on next, and all that good stuff?
I was gonna say also message me if you also love Mike from Breaking Bad, and
she is on such a kick. She is on
I
such a kick.
Mike is what every man should aspire to be, except for the murdering and the stealing and the blackmail. You know what? Just take the good qualities, just the good qualities. But he provides for his family, okay? He does what's right most of the time.
I wish I could take a picture of you, like, just like, and just put that like, this is Brittany explaining. Have you seen that meme where it's like the person like this and it's like me explaining to my friends and then the other person's like this in bed looking at them like they're crazy, and it's like that's you, me explaining what Mike is.
I just love it so much. But if you want to do those things that I was talking about with Breaking Bad, you follow me on Twitch at Itty Bitty Brit, where I stream a lot of fun games. I'm doing D&D tonight, which would be Sunday. So this is Sunday. This is Sunday. I mean, this is any day that you're watching this. That's our day. But you can also follow me on Twitter at Itty Bitty Brit 0 and TikTok, which I think I just have it as Itty Bitty Brittany, which is funny. They're all you'll find me. Just look for the dumb blonde and you'll be good.
You're just itty bit. It's cool. It's fine.
I just itty bitty.
I want to get into Twitch so badly, especially now that I've been like now playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and absolutely loving it. But anyway, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. That's TC. That's TC, right? So Tia and C, like for cat, I guess you would say. So it's TC. I didn't want to say like what the C actually stands for. It's not like a bad word or anything. It's just like part of my name that I don't like. It's an
awful word.
Oh my god, it would just be doxing myself. Is why I don't want to like put it out there. But anyway, so it would be like TC_Stark, like Tony Stark, I guess. Which is what really quick. I think like not that anyone's ever said to me, but I'm sure if like people see like TC_Stark or like TC Stark, they're like, oh, Stark for Tony Stark. That is not why my username has had the last name Stark. It's because of the character from SSX Tricky, Simon Stark. Like that's why it's TC Stark. But anyway, so yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TC_Stark. If you're new to this YouTube page, welcome. Please make sure that you subscribe. We put out content like this all the time. Brittany and I think are on a, I don't want to jinx it, but a really good track right now with our top 10s. And
Sunday's been working out.
It's been working out. So make sure you follow us. Geek Vibes Nation. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere and anywhere. geekvibesnation.com. You can get all of the news, opinion pieces, all that good stuff. Right now I've been watching Peacemaker and fucking loving it, so make sure you check out my reviews of that. And yeah, it's been awesome. We will be back next month because we're trying to make this a monthly thing. So if you guys have a suggestion of what you'd like the next top 10 to be, let us know. But as far as that goes, Brittany, anything else to say before we go off?
I was gonna say I laughed so hard that I think they're called, is it Wigwag? Like it's the band that sings Peacemaker's intro. They got dropped by their agent 3 days before the Peacemaker came out. The singers of the intro. And the lead singer was like, just give it a couple days, you'll see. And they're like, no. And apparently the agents dropped them. And then Peacemaker hit, and they're getting super popular again. I think it's called Wigwag. Let me see.
Because it says every time it goes like what it is on the subtitles. But
sorry, Wigwam. Wigwam.
I love the dance. Brittany needs to watch it, and that's how we're gonna do our outro.
Wait. I have no rhythm. Tia, help me. Help me.
There is no help. But anyway,
there's no rhythm in this little body.
No, there isn't. Love you. All right, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.